Can I add one thing, excuse me, that's very topical at the time that we're recording this, and that is that the conflict that's going on in the former Burma or Myanmar, where images have been able to come out of the country, and I'm going to guess they're on YouTube, but I know that the stills are there. I'm sure that there's moving images that are now on YouTube that everybody in the world is going to be able to look at what's going on there.
That's right. And I think one of the things that's very exciting, I didn't mention this in relationship to putting the course materials on YouTube, but of course one of the things that it raises, which is an extremely important question that YouTube opens up for us, or life online more generally, is this sort of public-private division that had organized so much of what we did before the internet, so that college teaching was a very private matter. I'm at a private liberal arts college, and my teaching was available to the 20 students who got into the class, who could pay for the class.
Yes.
This class is now available to anybody. One of the things that has meant is that so-called YouTubers, and these are people who really take YouTube very seriously, have been involved with it for its 2 years, very short lifespan, have been telling me about some of the very serious things that have happened, including several different organizing opportunities where people have shown images on YouTube in a particular country that have then allowed people around the world to galvanize around an issue. And this really has happened. There wasn't any platform like it before.
Yeah. It is. As a media professor, this has got to be fascinating.
Absolutely.
As you look ahead now, I mean, Ed, it's fascinating to hear that you and your teenage son are busy looking for the guitar lessons. There's stuff that you're not finding now, but could very well be finding in the future. Alexandra, look ahead as a media professor. What are some of the potentials that you see for YouTube besides Grandma and Grandpa getting to see cute antics by the grandchildren?
Well, the potentials are huge, but I think one of my concerns is that the architecture of the site is extremely limited, and is actually holding in some of these potentials, right? Something that we've been talking a lot about in the class. My students say to me, quite wisely, those limitations are there for very specific reasons, and it seems clear that YouTube really wants this to be an entertainment platform primarily.
Yeah.
And I think that is how it's functioning. And, God bless them. They understand how to make money. And, it's sort of like a glorified television set where every single person gets to move through the television set as they would like.
Right. It's like Alice is, going through the looking glass in some ways.
On the other hand, it's a pretty free environment where all kinds of other forms of moving images are now on it. What I don't see happening is some of the things one would need to, again, engage in these more serious uses of the medium. And that would be the ability to really link, one to search well, which you can't do, and another would be to link materials. So it's very hard to sort of cluster 5, 10, or 100 thematic items together in a sustainable way, where then somebody else could go look at those 100 items. It's almost impossible.
I've got to believe, Alexandra, that that's something that is just one technological twist away.
Yes, but they're not doing it there. And this is one of the most powerful internet companies in the world. So we have to ask why they're not allowing it to grow in this way.
I'm going to guess because of legal implications. What do you think, Ed?
But I think the other real weakness on the site is the level of discourse which occurs in the comments function. It's true across the internet that a very low level of conversation is permitted there, as we all know. But there's no necessary reason for that. My students have been trying very hard to engage in sophisticated conversation, with a intricate use of the English language on the comment function. But it's not the norm on YouTube, and it prohibits our ability to really engage with each other.
Well, you raise an interesting point, Alexandra, and that is, I wonder if the computer generation, and I'm thinking, Ed, of your kids, talent, and your other kids, have we bred a texting generation that may not be able to really use monosyllabic words?
Well, I think part of it is the enormity of it. When you're talking about some of the most popular ones have been clicked on, 200 million times.
Yes.
I mean, to have that many comments in there would be phenomenal to track.
Well, she's also talking about the complexity. I meant multisyllabic words, not monosyllabic, because texting is monosyllabic.
I will say to you that I'm a media studies professor. I love images. I think that some of the most important communication in our society in the last 100 years has occurred through the recorded moving image. That said, I'm also a professor, and I believe in the sanctity and power of words and our great tradition, as a culture, in expressing ourselves in complicated ways through words. And I would hate to lose that as we move to a more image-based society. And I have been asking my students very hard to think about what they lose when they stop expressing themselves with the rules of decorum and sophistication, which we've created in the academy and other places, for the enjoyment of watching some silly imitation of a television commercial.
Ed has a daughter who, what's the site that she goes to? Is the Harry Potter site?
It's probably, it's one of the Harry Potter sites where they publish their books for online collaboration.
So and she actually is writing for that medium, isn't she?
Yeah,
right.
And so there are other areas in which this is going on. But as you said, the power of the image is so huge. It's almost as if there's a blizzard of images out there. And it's very hard to sift your way through that.
Well, I think that one way to think about this is the loss of expertise and the rise of the amateur, and there's been a lot of conversation about that in relation to the internet. One of the things experts did for us and do for us is filter. And I think we want to let go of filtering, very carefully. So that, when I typically teach a class, if I teach a course on film history, I choose 15 films. They're the 15 greatest films in my opinion, and I show them to my students. When I teach on YouTube, there are, I don't know how many millions of films available, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that happens is that they mostly see very mediocre, in fact, quite bad work, because no one is filtering it for us. And I think that we need to take account of what that means for us as a society. And that we may want some expert organized experiences in our life and some which are not.
You raise a very good point, and it's the old thing, I heard it on the internet, becoming the ultimate anointing of information.
It's like the B movies, or even worse, the C movies.
This has gone well beyond that.
movies?
Alexandra, I really want to thank you very much for joining us. Alexandra Juhasz is a professor at Pitzer College in Claremont, California, and we believe is the first person in the country to use YouTube as both the in some ways your classroom and as the object of your studies as well. I really have appreciated your conversation about where this is all heading, because I think that this is the seeds of the conversation we've had right now are going to have some really important implications as we go on, and I know that's exactly what you're pursuing with your students. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Internet Advisor.
Thank you.